What is up, guys? This is Baxar1827 coming at you with another live stream from Montreal, Canada. Today we are going to look at Creativerse, and we're going to give you a tutorial on building a small house just to get you started. With us today we have a special guest, DeltaNick12.
Hello.
Alright, so as you can see, we are just about to head out. We're in the North Mountains.
Yeah, so basically we're going to be building the house out of a material called Bedrock, and we're going to be turning them into bedrock walls, and then we're going to be laying down some flooring as well to make it nice and cozy. And as you can tell, we're defending ourselves because we're going down into a cave, into the deep depths of the world, and there are creatures there that are very dangerous, so we must be armed at all costs. So
It's very true. And as you can see, we have diamond armor, which is not something that's common for new players. But for the purpose of this video, we wanted to use experienced accounts just so that we'd be able to, effectively create this stuff without having too much trouble with enemies.
So as you can tell, we've already kind of just explored this cave a little bit to a certain extent, but we're going deeper because that's where the bedrock is. And there's no stairs.
When you go down, always place. Nick, how important is it to place your lights and lanterns?
Lighting is essential because it wards off creatures and night creeps, so they don't spawn where you're harvesting materials and such. So always have a few lights in the area that you're working in just for safety measures.
And what kind of dangers? Tell our fans what kind of dangers these kind of creatures can pose to you.
Well, Mirus obviously can do a lot of damage if you're not wearing the right armor. They can sneak up behind you and do some serious damage. They can stun you as well. If you hit them a few times and their health gets to a certain point, there's a stun, and that kind of it's like a flashbang. If you've ever played Call of Duty, makes you very disoriented and such. So you gotta kind of kill the creature before that happens or turn away from it. And there's also the night pixies, kind of a silly name.
That's true.
Those are rampant in the world, especially in caves like this. If you go deep enough. But right now we have a few lights up, and I think we should be fine.
Harvesting some bedrock here.
Yeah.
This is my character, by the way. For all of you wondering which account I'm using, I've actually borrowed an account from a friend. I'm not going to give out the gamer tag because it is his account, and he is not making videos on this. It's really Baxar1827. So
we're just going to gather a few bedrock slabs here and make our way up soon. So we need about maybe 100 slabs.
Yeah, about 100.
Just for assurance. I don't think we need that many because we're doing 7x7. So it shouldn't be that much.
Really helpful when you go into this kind of mine or get into a situation like this is you want to have at least an obsidian mining cell.
Yeah.
So you do have to be somewhat, especially just for this type of wall that we're going to create for the house. The bedrock needs to be mined by something obsidian or stronger. So but when you do with when you're looking for stone or just something simple, you probably could just use a stone mining cell. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. So cells are basically you equip them, you craft them when you have the materials for it. It's a crafting based game. You just got to gather the materials and build accordingly and such. So
and it's interesting that XP is not really counted as to level you up. It's more what you craft. So there's no real skill scale that you can look at.
Yeah. So we're all done in the mine. We're just gonna go up and start building now because I think we have ample resources to begin our building. So as you can see now, I'm going to be clearing up the area in which we're going to be constructing the house, just to make it easier and more even to build on.
As you noticed, probably back a couple seconds, I healed myself. Right now, I'm just dropping some excess stone. Your inventory tends to fill up really quick, and as you noticed before, at the beginning of the video, we mentioned this is for some inexperienced players, and that can be a problem, when you're not focusing on how much is in your inventory and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, Nick, do you find you get a lot of like it fills up quickly.
Yeah, a lot of unnecessary things I pick up throughout the game, and that have I just kind of go trigger happy when it comes to just I find like a patch of mushrooms, and it that kind of like mentality. It fills your inventory up pretty quickly, so you have to be very vigilant in that regard. You have to be mindful of what you pick up, and only pick up things you need. The essentials. Food, mushrooms, and just the stuff you're constructing with. It may seem very tempting to, you know, mine or suck up everything that you see, but that's not really a wise thing to do because inventory space is of the utmost importance.
When you craft, also make sure that's a great point, Nick. When you
Mhm.
craft, also make sure you're crafting things that you can necessarily put down right after
Mhm.
you've crafted your initial structure.
Yep.
As you saw, I back there, I was taking some
lag, yeah.
yeah, a little lag there.
Yeah.
I was taking some crafting from the inventory and crafting
Mhm.
a fire pit and just
Mhm.
some shelves.
So as Ryan's doing, he picked up the grass off the clearance of the area,
And I'm
and it's not a necessary
deleting.
material, and he's dropping it because it's not going to be necessary for any sort of building we're doing. So I'm going to start laying down the walls. Like I said before, we're doing a 7x7, um, you know, type build, and then we're gonna start building the walls up. Probably about 3 blocks high, I'd say.
4 blocks
Four
high.
blocks, yeah,
You
yeah.
see, the important thing to remember when you're starting to create any structure is you want to have an odd
Mhm.
number of blocks,
Mhm.
because an even number of blocks will give you um, an odd number
Mhm.
across when you make your
Mhm.
walls.
Mhm.
So you always want to have something like that.
Mhm.
So an odd number. And now I'm just pulling out some grass and dirt to
For
make the floor.
floors, yeah, because the floors are not going to be, yeah. And so the whole point of this is basically when you enter the world, any world that you're creating in, is the first thing you have to do is you have to create a shelter because, like I said before, you're in a world that's very dangerous, as the game suggests. So having a place to seek refuge in uh, during the night hours is very important because you can get killed by the nightly creatures, as I mentioned before, Mirus, Pigsy. So first thing you do is gather material. It could be wood, anything solid, because really you can just, wood would have been, perfect for a house like this, but we wanted to go, a little more luxurious, if you will. So as long as you have a structure to go back to as home base when, the sun goes down, then you're good to go. So that's it.
Yeah, and bedrock is actually a material that is good. Nick's dropping some actually for me now because I'd given him a lot of mine. By the way, you press Z to drop,
Yeah.
and you can
After take
keep
all.
holding
Yep.
it to drop the same
Mm-hmm.
in multiple amounts.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was saying, bedrock is something that you can mine. You don't have to be a super experienced player to get. If we did it in terms of levels, I
Yeah.
would say like a level 10
Pretty much
maybe.
every cave you find has bedrock if you go deep enough.
It's about the
So
third layer in any
yeah,
cave.
yeah. It's a pretty you know prominent resource, but it's very vital in many ways.
As you can see in the back there, that is our castle, Castle Wolfenberg. And I've been privileged enough to help with the expansion. Um,
Yeah, it's quite the doozy.
yeah, it's taken Nick and my friend Felix, whose account I'm using, 2 years to build all
And it still isn't finished yet.
that. Nick always with the big plans.
So yeah, we're just building up the walls now, and as you can tell, we have a few window holes, just to get a nice view and see what's out there at night. And there's a doorway, and we'll be constructing the door afterwards, and we'll be going through what materials you need to craft it.
Nick's putting some torches up. That's always
Torches
good.
are imperative. Always have torches, even during the daytime, because it'll help you. Like I said,
It's easy to forget.
Yeah, it's because you get caught. You kind of get caught up in the building process, and
Yeah.
you forget about the things that keep you alive. And it's also, as much as it's a fun building game, you have to kind of worry about your your survival, because the creators made this game. It revolved around a very dangerous world, and you got to defend yourself. So torches, swords, armor, all that stuff's good. And we're building the ceiling now just to cover it up. Seal the deal.
So the purpose of this video was actually an assignment that I was given, and I'm really happy that I asked Nick to come and comment on this, because he's an experienced player, and hearing it from me, is valid, but hearing it from an experienced player really makes a difference. As you can tell, he's still surveying the area, he's putting torches down, and I'm just kind of making the windows, but he knows what he's looking for.
Yeah, so pretty much the main structure is, it's pretty much been built, and now it's just a matter of filling in the gaps, adding now, lanterns inside, and just, making it homey, if you will.
You're gonna see in about a few seconds, I'm gonna start laying some stone floor down and one of our doors, and I'm actually gonna run out of blocks. So I'm gonna try and figure out. It's all about troubleshooting now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. You're gonna see it's coming up in about 5 seconds here. Nick didn't really realize that I had actually made some flooring.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And
he runs out of Ryan eventually runs out of a material called stone slabs, and we didn't have a processor nearby, and we didn't have the materials to craft one, but we had one back at the castle, so I had to run back and craft him a few stone slabs.
And how essential would you say stone slabs are?
Stone slabs, I think, are a integral part of a lot of materials, especially mostly when you're building a structure. Stairs have a lot of them. Require a lot of stone slabs, so I think they're pretty important when you're building with stone. They're part of everything.
That makes a lot of sense. And basic materials, you really want to make sure you don't run out of them.
Yeah.
I would say stone slabs, wood slabs. From what I've played with
iron
so
rods
far,
too.
Iron rods, and any kind of wood really, and whatever stone you use the most to make.
And
Nick is left, by the way.
People may find it daunting to go out and seek these materials, but in reality, it's quite simple. You just need to go out and have a good 10-minute gathering session, and you're good to go. I mean, just find yourself a good cave, occupy it, make sure you put plenty of lights down there, and you can just go and frequent that place as much as you can until you've basically run out of materials in that particular spot. So it's it's quite simple. It's a matter of going and doing it, and just building.
So as you see, I've put some shelves in. But what would you say how important is it to have some storage facilities? Like, you could build some chests. We didn't.
Well, that also correlates to what Ryan said before. It's that if you have an inventory that's full, but full of things that you need, building a chest can help you kind of lessen the load and make you less encumbered. So having a few chests nearby is good to store ingredients, good to store weapons, and anything in general. So I think every structure you build should have at least one chest. At least, I'd say.
It's very interesting, actually, that you say that, because when I first visited your Castle Wolfberg, there's a processor in almost every room, and there are over 30 rooms, just to save you the time.
Because you don't want to be traveling back and forth to a processor. You want to have them in the vicinity, so it's just, it makes it easier for you and for the players around you to have just things at your disposal that are close.
Especially at night, you want to stick inside whatever confines you've built for yourself, because going outside and collecting materials at night is not the best
best way to do it. When it's daytime, you capitalize on that and you just go out and gather as many ingredients as you can. It saves you a lot of trouble, because it may seem like there's a lot of creatures out there, and you got to be careful, and you don't want, and also there's a durability issues. If you use your sword specifically, you lose durability, and I think swords should be used as a last resort, whenever you're cornered or something. So you want to save that as much as possible.
See, sorry, I just want to interject for a second. I love that this game really encourages the use of imagination and troubleshooting. This could have been a huge problem. Okay, so I could have gone out and gotten more stuff for the stones, which I sent Nick to do, actually. But then I realized, what do I have in my inventory that I can still use? And it still looks good. And, I'm still trying to figure out how to swap things out. You see, my inventory is filling up a bit, but in the end, I figured out that I could use some blue carpeting, and that does give it a homey touch.
It does. And it sounds kind of silly coming from a video game, but, you built this, you put time into the structure. You may as well personalize it, as you wish, and that's what Ryan's doing here. He quite likes the carpeting,
Well, I do enjoy carpentry, so I can say that, you know,
Mhm.
it wasn't just imagination. But this is
Mhm.
what's great is it this kind of game encourages
Mhm.
people to A, work together, and B,
Mhm.
use their own imagination to create things,
Definitely.
you know,
Hence the name Creativerse.
hence the
Um,
name Creativerse. Exactly.
so I'm just yeah. So the walk to the castle is quite a way, a ways away. So I'll be back shortly. Um, but it's coming along pretty well, don't you think?
It looks very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I really agree with that. You have to be careful. Some materials
No, there I
don't
am.
mix. But like I said, the materials we're using, you probably will not be able to create
Mm-hmm.
as a beginner. And
Mm-hmm.
we had, like I said, we decided that we would show you on an experienced account as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to with experienced
Mm-hmm.
materials as opposed to with
Yeah.
basic materials, just to show you the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're endless. You can do basically whatever you want in this game.
I'm
It's like a game of freedom. It's you have a lot of freedom to do as you wish. And now we're just gonna take a little look at the finished result. Little basic house.
By the way, for those new players, any of these little green guys are not harmful. Generally, there's a blue aura around
Yeah,
the
you see,
animals that are
that's a night
hostile.
pixie. Yeah,
Uh, Really, I would not recommend getting near it to
yeah.
find out.
You don't want to waste the durability on your sword because building them is a whole other process. So if you can avoid them, try your best to do so.
Especially at night, avoid creatures.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wrap it up here, but thanks for joining us, Nick. Thank you
Thanks for
for
having me.
tuning in,
It
fans,
was
and
fun.
we will see you next time.